Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics video on the channel. It is Wednesday and as always we have trade talk ahead of round 15, which is, we've only got a couple of bye weeks left, only got 2 left. So second to last bye week for 2025, which is good. I'm sure that a lot of us have been able to upgrade our teams and hopefully get a few of these rookies off of the ground and can look towards back to best 22. Yeah. But let's go to the top most trade in and out players of the week, as we always do, and then my top 5 targets, and then my current trade plans as what I'm looking at doing. So let's go through the most trade in players of the week. And Tom McCarthy is the most trade in player, over 10,000 coats. So jumping on someone, probably the first time I've actually ever seen someone actually on buy, but are still the most trade in player of the week. I can understand why as well, right? We don't have a huge amount of downgrade options. I think Tom McCarthy and the next guy we'll talk about, Zack Johnson, are both very, very good options. So I'm looking at, obviously, if you don't have either of them, I think you've got to get one this week. You probably go Johnson this week, but McCarthy, if you've already got Johnson, I think it makes a bit of sense. Just because we don't really have any other outstanding downgrade options, you could go there. Like for some reason something happened or whatever, he's not named the week after. It doesn't matter, I guess, too much anyway, right? But he played fantastic. 101 points. He's got a break-even of minus 25, and he's going to make some really good cash. And if he's playing this role like Ryan Merrick was doing, he's going to make a lot of cash and quickly, but also put up some solid scores. So I think that there is a conversation to be had, and obviously we had that chat on the Q&A last night about that. So make sure you guys do check out the Q&A with the whole gang last night. We're chatting about this and a heap of other stuff as well. Do you loop between McCarthy and Johnson at M8 for a little bit and upgrade the mid-price and guys to top of the line and then upgrade McCarthy or / Johnson last? So, because it'll be a stage where if you got both, you can go literally one down, one up at some point if we trade them, obviously. So McCarthy, I think he's fine to bring in even on the buy. Probably still lean slightly towards maybe go another option to get some cash and then get him. At least it gives you the downgrade for next week, but I can certainly see the players to getting him. Zack Johnson, the second most trading player, nearly 8,000 jumping on him, and again, for very good reason. Minus 33 break even, went up 95k last week with 104 points. Looked fantastic against Geelong, has a great role. Took 5 kick-ins as well, which is obviously fantastic. He's going to make a lot of cash quickly. If you didn't get him, I still think you can grab him this week. He's going to make, if he gets a 62, he's making 80k, right? He's going to make a lot of cash this week. He's going to be probably mid-400s next by the time it comes to around 17 when you're looking at him. And that's probably almost too much to pay. Well, maybe not, but still, you want to get him this week. You don't want to miss out on 80k, essentially, for a week. So jump on him this week if you don't have him. I think that for most people, I think it's really important you do jump on him just because of the... Guess we're not going to have like a dime a dozen of rookies coming through at this time of the year. We've only got a few, so I think it's important to jump on these guys when you can. So if you haven't got Johnson, I'd make it a priority to get him in because he's going to make a lot of cash and very, very quickly. Jason Horne-Francis is third on the list, 7.7k jumping on him. He's the most popular premium of the week. He's cheap. Obviously looked very, very good last week for 112 points for the better part of 3 quarters, really. Had a bit of a shoulder stinger late. Went off and didn't play a huge amount in the last quarter. He went down 30k. He's 818k, break even to 106. So he's probably not going to get that much cheaper. Probably want to wait one more week. I just want to see how that shoulder goes. I think it's still fine to go for him this week. I guess I want to see how that shoulder does go this week and if he is all good, which it sounds like he is. Port list him as available on the injury report, so he should be good to go if anyone was worried. So again, he's cheap. He's priced in the 80s. I think he's a 90-plus guy. So I think he is someone that you can definitely go for. I'm just double-checking that he was listed as available and not as a test. Wasn't even listed on here. Yep, that's the updated one. Wasn't even talked about at all. So he should be fine heading into the Sydney game this week. Harry Ralston is next on the list, 7k jumping on him, and I think he would be probably the number 1 trade-in play if he didn't have a buy coming up. And I say number 1 because a lot of people jumped on Johnson, and McCarthy's got a buy, so people would go for Ralston this week and then McCarthy the week after. But the fact that maybe not the number 1, but I think he'd be brought in by over 10,000 people, put it that way, if he didn't have the buy coming up. -3 break even. Played on Lockie Neal a bit last week as a bit of a run-with role. Scored 75. Looked pretty good. So I've just seen, what was his time on ground? That was one thing I didn't actually have a look at. 62%, obviously a bit low, but if he stays in the team, he's going to make some cash. -3 break even. I think you can go there if you got Johnson and you want to wait a week on McCarthy. Rouston's someone I've looked at potentially jumping onto this week. I just worry that with the bye week coming up, is he just in the team and then he's out? But I think he played well enough that he's going to get another run at it. So I think he is an option that you could potentially go for this week. Sam Darcy, next on this, he's the 5th most trading player, 6,500 jumping on him. I think it's the matchup here, Richmond, and he's been fantastic, averaging 98 if you remove that injured game that he had. He's got a very nice run coming up, and if you just look at the scores, right, he takes marks like every game. He's such a good player, right? So he's gone in full games this year, 65, 100, 99, 128, 82, and 115. So he's been really good. Played a little bit lower game time as well against the Saints, easing back. But and he has spent some time in the ruck as well, had 8 hit-outs, and he does get around the ball a little bit more. So he's got Richmond, Sydney, North Melbourne, and Adelaide in the next month. So pretty nice run, particularly for those next 3, looking really good. So he is someone that you could go to. His break-in's 101, but you really want him for this matchup. The Richmond matchup's where you want him. So I think he is an option to go for, and a little bit of a pod pick if you want to go there. Callum Mills, 6th most trading player of the week. Again, his value, 763 is a good price. I want to see this week to see what role he plays, because before the bye against Richmond, he scored a 110, which people are looking at and going, yeah, it's a good score. But he played in defence for the whole game. Didn't have a single CBA, but Roberts was out. So it was like, was that just because Roberts was out? And if Roberts is in, is he just going to go back into the mids? But then you got Goulden and Papley looking like they're going to play this week. So like that shakes things up a bit more, like Goulden and seeing what role, he'll be on a wing, obviously, with some CBAs. But does Mills go back in the midfield, or was he in defence because they want him back there? So I want to see what his role is this week. I think you can wait a week. Port Adelaide's not really a great matchup, and his break-even 66, even if he tons up, he's only going to go up 20, 30K. He'll still be probably below 800K, and that'll still be value. And if we get some sort of assurance of what his role's going to be, then I think we can launch. I think you can still go there this week. I'm personally just waiting another week to see with him, to see if I want to go and bring Callum Mills in, but he is an option definitely. Caleb Serong is number 7 on the list, 3.4K coach, so jumping on him. Again, he's still value, but I feel like you've partly missed the boat, because he's gone up 61K. Like, he was just over 900K, and now he's near $1 million. So, like, you're bringing him in now, wanting him to be that guy that's fairly close, if not inside the top 8 mids, which I think he can do, right? But he will have some tags coming up. So he's got Essendon, which I think he'll be fine. Then he goes St Kilda. That'll be likely a Windhager tag. Then into Sydney, probably a Jordan tag. Then Hawthorn, they're obviously tough to score on anyway, but whether they run some with Serong, I'm not sure. Collingwood, I think he'll be fine there. West Coast, he dominates with there. But then Chincotta there. Port Adelaide's tough. Do they run someone with him like a Bergman or a Drew? Brisbane will be fine, then the Doggies. So I don't love the run home for Serong. And he went 146 last week, but other than that, he hasn't really put up some massive scores. But his value, his last 4 weeks have been great. Well, 5 weeks, really. He's gone over 90 in his last 5. And he's got 3 tons in his last 4. So definitely could go there. I'm probably temporary sort of intermission with that, just making sure that we're still good to go. Okay, we're fine. Okay, apologies for that. But yeah, so I'm just saying probably where I'm coming from is that I'm probably not looking at him, but I think you can definitely go there. He's still a little bit of value, even though you've missed the big pop score. So that was number 7. And hang on, we got 2, 4, 6, 7. Number 8 is Matt Kennedy, just over 3,000 jumping on him. Simple as if you got the cash, I think you can get him in. He's top 3 forward. I think they're clear top 3 forward, and they by a little bit of distance as well. Richmond this week, great matchup. They've still got a couple of good matchups in Richmond, Sydney, and North Melbourne to come. I think Matt Kennedy is a good target if you've got the money. If you don't have great team value, I find like myself, I would love to bring Kennedy in this week. I just find it hard to bring him in, because if I bring him in, I'm really hamstringing myself in what I can do in the next few weeks. So I'm probably not looking to go Kennedy this week, even though I'd love to get him in. But if you've got the chance to, you got good team value, everything's working, I think he's a very, very good target to bring in. Mckercher, the 9th most traded player. I'm still a really big fan of Mckercher as a pick. Nearly 3,000 bringing him in so far. 667k, 47 break even. Look, he scored 85 last week. I'm still fairly happy with that. And he had a 6-point second quarter. It was wet weather. I think that, and again, his marks have been down the last couple of weeks. He's taken, 2 and 1. I think he takes more marks. I think he's more closer to the 4 to 6 marks per game compared to the 1 and 2. Which means that there's only more upside than the 91, the 85. And if he's putting up like mid-90s numbers most weeks, he's going to be a pretty decent cash generator, but also getting your points at like a D6, M8, wherever you've sort of got him in your team. So I still really like Colby Mckercher as an option. Manny Liddy is another downgrade option. He's the 10th most traded player of the week, 2,500 jumping on him. So the interesting thing is he's already had the bye and Rowston's got the bye. So it's like when you're splitting them, do you go for Rowston, who's got the lower break even and had a good score on the weekend, but a bye? Or do you go for Liddy, who scored a 42, had some decent moments there, but he's already had the bye? I still think I'll lean towards Rowston just because I think he can make more cash long term. Liddy, I know he played a full game on the weekend, but he strikes me as a guy that could be the sub at any given time as well. Matchups aren't great over the next few, so I don't think he's going to make a huge amount of cash. I think he's a guy that we can watch again this week, break even to 13. If even he puts up a 60 or a 70, he's still going to be below 300k. I think we can launch into him next week. I think you can watch him for another week. Whereas Rowston, if you're going there, you've got to go this week. Zack Johnson, you've got to go there this week. McCarthy, obviously, you can go next week as well. But Liddy, I think you can wait another week. So I'm probably looking at doing that. Just a few other players here. Archer May, he's one of the only forward rookies we got. I'm looking at bringing him in this week because I need a forward rookie. I need to get one of those rookies to put on the bench because currently I've only got one forward rookie on my bench. I've currently got Shea Bolton as my F7. So obviously I'll tinker things around, but I need to look at someone, and I'm tossing up between Archer May and Will Hayes. And Archer May is obviously someone that's there. He's got a bye coming up. I'm probably leaning slightly more towards Hayes if Hayes is named and he's not the sub. So, obviously, Archer May plays the first game of the round. I'm just having a look here in terms of when do Collingwood play this round? They play Saturday night, so I guess there won't be a huge amount of pivot options. I guess I could always just go towards Rowston this week and then go and get a forward rookie next week, if worst case. So I'm currently on Will Hayes at the moment. Archer May is an option there. Andrew Brayshaw, great target. He's second highest averaging midfielder behind Jordan Dawson. He's still at a decent price. He's priced in the sort of around the 106, 107 sort of range, I think, 108 maybe. And I think he's a top 4 midfielder the rest of the season. And he's been very, very good, very consistent. I think that consistency's really risen this year because Brayshaw's been a guy that over probably 5 weeks will put up maybe 3 to 4 tons, and he'll have one score in the 80s. Whereas this year he's been a lot more consistent in terms of he hasn't put up too many sub 100 scores, and he's put up a few of these 110 plus scores. Like when he goes over 100, he normally goes over 110. And including his obviously season high score of 136 on the weekend. Season high in marks as well of 6, which is promising in wet weather. He was able to take 6 marks. So his marks have been steady since round 6. He's taken at least 3 in every game, but we have seen slight uptick there, and his tackles have been pretty consistent for this year as well. So really, really like Brayshaw, who fills up all the stat lines. So I really like him. Josh Dacos, I actually really, really like Josh Dacos as an option this week. 938k, priced at 94. I'm looking, though, at his upcoming run. His upcoming run for the next 6 weeks is fantastic. St Kilda, West Coast, Carlton, Gold Coast, Freo, and Richmond. That is a very, very juicy run for the next 6 weeks, and he's still value. And his form as well over the past month has been really good as well. Put up a season high 128 against Melbourne with 11 marks. They were looking a lot more for him for those little +6s. Had 34 touches as well. He's not going to get attention when it comes to opposition because it's going to go towards his brother, Nick. His game time was a bit lower on the weekend, which is he got stuck on the bench a couple of times. But that could have even been a 140 if that was the case. So I think he's a really good target with these matchups coming. St Kilda is a great matchup. I'm looking at bringing him in this week as well. Break even 73, so he could even make a tiny bit of cash there. So you're not really going to get him much cheaper than what he is right now. bit like what I said with Kenny, though. If you got money, Bailey Dale's a good option. Richmond this week, he's been in great form over the last sort of 5 weeks or so, I think it is. Like obviously the bye in there. So last 4 games he's played, I think he's had 3 tons. One scored the 60, well, 4 of his last 5 being tons. The 64 wasn't great, but he's put up some really good scores. Other than that, really good run over the next 3, as I mentioned with the Dogs. Richmond this week, he could go very, very big this week. So Bailey Dale, I like. Brady Grundy's an option if you're doing the Gorn trade. I like Jackson's an option as well. Might get a really good score against Essendon where they'll have just Vicentini, I think. It sounds like Goldie's going to get rested, so Jackson could have a good score there. Nasai, great option. Hewitt, Butters, I think are options as well for you to bring in as well as underpriced sort of midfields that could go close to those top 8. And in Butters' case, I think he will be around the top 8, if not a top 8 mid. Bergman, still a little bit of value. You've missed a few of those, obviously, good scores. He's still got to break into 60, though, so I think you can still go there and bring Bergman in. Jack Mckercher is an option in the forward line as well. And I mentioned, obviously, Will Hayes as well as a downgrade option in the forward line. Marshall as well is a pretty good target if you're looking to do that Marshall trade as well. Let's go to the most traded out players of the week, and we'll start off with Levi Ashcroft. Again, it makes a lot of sense. He dropped a heap of cash there. He's got a buy next week. You don't want to wait because he's breaking to 113. If he drops another 50 or 60, he's going down even more. He's really starting to undo that work that he did to start the season. So I think he's got to go. Drop nearly 50k on the weekend. I think it's as simple as he's got to go. He's been a great cash cow for us. But yeah, you want to trade him now. Isaac Ranken, 6.2k jumping off him. He's very, very interesting, Isaac Ranken, as to whether you jump off. I'm still in 2 minds as to whether I'm going to trade him out or not. He is in my trade plans in terms of I might trade him out. He's obviously dropped off. He obviously had a great start to the year with some of those scores over the first sort of 8-9 weeks. 8 weeks. He had a few tons in there as well, had a lot of 90s. The only 2 scores he had that were poor was the game where he got subbed out early against Essendon, and then the game against Gold Coast where he gave away 5 free kicks, which he hasn't given any more than 2 in a game, right? So, though besides those 2, he's normally putting up good scores, but the last 6 weeks he's gone sub 90 in each of those games. His midfield time's obviously gone down. His marks are down. Even his tackles are down from where they were at the start of the year. Like, look, from rounds 3 to round 7, he was tackling at least 4 or 5 a game, whereas the last few weeks like 2, 3, 2, 4, 1, 5 was okay, but then 1 again. His touches are down as well. As I said, less midfield time. It's just the matchups post bye that month. Richmond, Melbourne, Bulldogs, Gold Coast, a pretty nice month post bye. So I'm just wondering, and he'll cover like a Baz and a Nick Martin the week after. So I'm tossing up whether I trade him out or not. He's someone I've looked at trading, and I'm still not sure yet. But yeah, we'll have to see. Hugh Boxell, 4,500 jumping off him. He can go. He might get named this week as well. But even if he does, we know what is going to happen. He's likely to play 40 to 50% game time. Break even 33. He's not going to make a huge amount more cash unless he gets a lot of game time and puts up a decent score. But the way they use him, I just don't know if I see it happening. Chris Petrarca, I'm still a can of holding him. I know people are frustrated with him over the last 6 weeks as well. He's only had the 1 ton over his last 6 games, and that was a 104. But if you look at his matchups, they've been quite difficult. Like, you look here, he's gone Hawthorn, Brisbane, Sydney, St Kilda, Collingwood and Port Adelaide. Really, Sydney was the one where he turned up, and that was the easier matchup. But every other game has been pretty hard. Like, St Kilda aren't as easy as what people think, with Windhager tagging as well. Collingwood aren't easy. Port aren't easy. Obviously, Brisbane, Hawthorn aren't easy either. Whereas he comes in a run of Gold Coast, Adelaide, North Melbourne, Carlton, St Kilda, West Coast, Western Bulldogs. It's a pretty nice, 7-week stretch post bye. I'm still holding track. I think he's still a top 6 forward, so I would be holding him. And then the interesting one of the week, the 5th most trade out player is Max Gorn, 1.2 million, averaging 116.6 for the season. This is I'm happy I'm not in this situation, even though I'd love to have had Big Gorny all season. He's had 1 score below 110 since round 5, and that was a 107. He's been fantastic this season. Obviously, amazing pick if you started with him. I know he had a 3-game stretch here where he wasn't great. Outside that, he's been fantastic. it's really tricky because if you trade him out, how are you going to get him back? Because I don't know if he's going to just completely drop in price and be like $1,950,000. He's going to stay expensive for a long time. His run, though, is hard for the next three after his bye. So he's got a bye, then he's got Witts, O'Brien, Cherry. 3 of the 4 hardest ruck matchups, and obviously Witts and O'Brien are the 2 toughest matchups for rucks. Then got Cherry, who's tough. Then he goes TDK, Marshall, Flynn or Williams, English, Meek, and Cameron to finish the year. So I think his run to end the year is really good. I think it's a play. It is a play to consider if you've got Max Gorn in your team. I probably still lean towards the fact that he's averaging 116. He's the clear number 1 averaging ruck for the year. I would probably hold, particularly if you've got Nick Madden to cover for this week or even a Luke Jackson. So I'm slightly leaning towards I'm a holder of Gorn, even though I don't have him. But if you want to trade out, if your team value is poor and there's no way to get your upgrade and you can go him to a Marshall, bank you 160 odd K, I can see why you'd be doing it. And I think I could tick it off. But I'm probably leaning towards holding because I think he's just been so good this year, and I'd like to hold. Next on the list, Hardman can go. Obviously, it was a failed pick, unfortunately. He's gone, 33.41. He's made 30K in 2 weeks. Break-even's up to 58. Unfortunately, for his, it's obviously, Colby's been great, but it's obviously come at the expense of Hardman, who's now the 3rd guy behind Mckercher and Daniel, and not getting enough balls, so he can go. Angus Clark, I think he can go this week. I think that a lot of people are going to hold one more week, but he hasn't scored great. He's playing more of a lockdown defensive role the last 2 weeks, and he scored sub 50 in both those games. Obviously, had a great debut. We scored sub 60 in the 3 games since. The 98, obviously, against Richmond when he played more on the wing, but since then he's played more in defence and more of a lockdown defender. His break-even's 31, but we're all going to be trading him next week anyway. I don't think you're going to miss out on a huge amount of cash gen. You might miss out on 20, 30K, but I'm happy to trade him. I've got the decision I can trade Clark or Foss this week. I'm actually leaning to trading Clark this week because Foss will be an extra number next week, and he's got probably more cash to make, I think, based on the way Foss has looked last couple of weeks. So I'm happy to trade Clark. If it works for your team. Will Ashcroft, I think he can go if you're heavy on that buy next week. He's been a great pick. He's averaged 92 for the year. He's near 10 points of upside from where he was priced at. He's turned up a lot, but he's had just a couple of lower scores, obviously more recently, with the 78 in round 11 and then the 6-1 against the Giants. And he's got the buy coming up. Him to even a Butters is only 20, not even 20K. So I think that's a move you can potentially look at. Not every team's going to trade. I think if you're not heavy on the round 16 buy, I'd still hold, get those rookies and those really bad mid prices out first, and then you can upgrade Will Ashcroft post buys. But if you're heavy on the buy next week, I think he can go. What are we up to? That's 8. So Lindsay is the number 9 most trade out player. Yep, he can go. Obviously dropped a bit of cash last week, was the starting sub. So yeah, 38K loss, break even 92. He's got the buy. He is a trade this week. Josh Dunkley's the 10th most trade out player of the week. He's just, completely fallen off a cliff the last, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, however long it's been since he's turned up. And his scores have got worse each week. So went to 111 against North in round 9, but it's gone 94, 93, 82, 81, 75. It's just got worse. So that's 5 weeks in a row, sub-tons, and he's dropping cash. He's 925, so the value's not there anymore. And I was looking at him as an option when he was 1.06 million. So I'm glad I didn't jump on him at that point. But break him to 128. People that are heavy on that buy, I think you can trade. I think he's a guy that we can pick back up if he starts getting it going post buys. Like the run from round 19, 20 looks a little bit better. Next few look tricky. Like Geelong will be okay, but then Port, Carlton not great after the buy. So I think he's a trade if you're really heavy on the buy. If you're not heavy, I still think I'd probably hold just because there's no value on his head anymore. And Dunkley's the sort of player that could turn this around and really get going. So, it depends where your team's at. But I'm happy if you want to trade. Other players here, obviously Kyle Lman can go. He's got a buy next week, but that sub last week's really killed that cash gen. I was hoping he'd get more towards the 500K mark before his buy, but break-even's now 43. You might make a little bit more. He's a guy that a lot of people may trade next week to get that cash on the field. Merrick can go, obviously lost the role and on buy. He's actually hasn't gone awful the last few weeks. He's dropped a little bit. He dropped 30K again on the weekend. And his scores obviously haven't been there, but 51, 63, 68, 60. No, it's actually been pretty bad over the last month, unfortunately. Just after losing the role, he's been a good money maker for us. But if you still have got him, he has got to go. He's on buy, so good time to get rid of him. Sardell Hawley, yep, fine him for go. Fine for him to go, sorry. Jordan Dawson, 2,000 jumping off him, which is very interesting. He is definitely not a trade. He's a must-have, I think, post-buy. He's got Richmond, then Melbourne. So you need him post-buy, particularly that Richmond game. So, yeah, you're definitely not trading. Those 2,000 coaches trading him have to reverse that. Newcomb can go. He's someone that I'm fine to trade. Berry can go. Oliver can go. I know Oliver put up a better score on the weekend, but been very, very up and down. He can go. Stone can go if you can cash out of him. Bowie, Kako, Langford, even Foss to an extent can go. I'm probably more looking at holding him. Just because his break-even's 26, he's actually starting to play some pretty good footy now. They're looking for him, and he missed a pretty easy opportunity at 9 points and a goal on the weekend. So that could have easily been another 60-plus score in pretty bad conditions. So I'm looking at maybe holding him for another couple of weeks. Max Hall, Cooper Simpson, Trent Rivers. Zach Merrett, someone a bit like Dunkley. If it fits your buy, if you're heavy on the buys next week, he can go, but I'd rather trade Dunkley a few hours before Merrett. Merrett does have Richmond post-buy as well. A few people trading out of Boyd to unlock that utility. Hewitt, yep, he can go. Bice can go. Salem, yeah, they can all these guys can go that are here as well. So they are the most traded in-out players of the week. My top 5 targets of the week. At number 1, I've got Zack Johnson. If you didn't jump on him last week, I think you just got to jump on. His break-even's too low. He's going to make heaps of cash. I think, yeah, just jump on and enjoy that cash that he's going to make this week. He'll have the buy, and then you'll get him the week after. So he is my number 1 trade-in target. At number 2, I've still got Mckercher as my number 2 trade-in target. It might be high. A few people might say it's high, but he's still sub 700K. I think he's an 85-plus averaging midfielder. It's about 20-odd points of upside, and I think he could even average 90 and maybe a little bit more. So you could be getting close to 30 points upside. He's a comfortable guy. You can put out a D6 and he can fill out your defense. So really like him as an option if you want to go there. At number 3, if you've got the money, I've actually got Matt Kennedy. Where is Matt Kennedy? I went past him. Matt Kennedy, I've got at number 3. He's got Richmond this week. He's a top 3 forward. If you've got the money to go there, I would strongly consider doing it if you don't have him. I can't, unfortunately, because I don't have really good team value, so I don't have the luxury of paying up for these guys. But if you do, take advantage of it and bring Kennedy in, because you're going to want him anyway. So I would put him there. And how many was that? That's 3. Number 4, I'll go Brady Dale as well in the top 5. Richmond this week, again, I'm going for that matchup. If you've got a little bit of money in the bank or some good team value, I think Brady Dale's a good option to go for against Richmond. And number 5, to round out my top 5, I'm actually going to put Josh Dacos. I think he's a really good option. He's someone I'm looking at with a bit cheaper. And with that great run over the next 6 weeks coming up, he's someone that I'm definitely considering. So he would be my number 5 trade-in target as well. Don't mind Mills. He's probably high for others. I just want to see that roll for another week to see how it goes. And I would have had McCarthy obviously on here, but the fact he's got a buy, probably can't put him in my top 5 targets for the week. In terms of my trades for round 15, haven't really settled on them just yet. Hardman is going to one of May or Hayes. Currently, Hayes is what I've got at the moment. Like, I've just got to obviously cash out of Hardman, but also get a forward rookie in. So I'll be doing that one. And then outside of that, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Like, I could go like a Angus Clark down to a rookie, and then I could go Foss up to, I could go to Mills and just get last rookie off the field. I don't know if I can quite get Josh Dacos that way. Or if I just do another reshuffle and then go Bolton to Dacos and have him there. Or if I get aggressive and trade Ranken, who's on buy this week, and go him to a Luke Jackson, who I'm keen on, and then go Bolton to Josh Dacos, and then just do the rookie shuffle in Hardman down to a Hayes. So they're the cover option thing you're doing. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. But hopefully we'll see how my trades sort of end up for the week. But that is trade talk for round 15. But let me know in the comments, guys, what you guys are doing with your trades in round 15. And any questions you have, put them in the comments below, and I'll try and get to some if I can. But if you do want a guaranteed answer, because I can't always get to the YouTube comments or messages on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, the best place to get a guaranteed answer is on our Patreon. So head over to patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. You get a guaranteed answer to all your questions in there. We do our Patreon Q&As every Wednesday night, so I'll be recording that later on tonight for you guys. So if you guys haven't signed up to Patreon yet, head over there. You get the exclusive Q&As every week. Plus, you get a team review through the Ask Me On Q service. Patreon members get that service for free. So if you want a team review each week, every Patreon member gets one per week. So if you'd like to become Patreon member, get your team reviewed every week, exclusive Q&As, all that good stuff. But also, if you want to help us out and support us a little bit at the AFL Fantasy Fanatics, then head to our Patreon. Link is in the description below, or patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. Alternatively, you can use the Ask Me On Q service if you just want a once-off team review. And the link for that is in the description below as well. Personalised audio response directly to your email box if you would like to do that. So I'll be back very, very shortly with Tom, as always, for our Game Day Squad preview for round 15. And then I'll be back tomorrow for captains, as always, on the Thursday. So some decent options this week with some good matchups. So looking forward to going through those with you this week. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As always, make sure you do smash a like on the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We are less than 50 away from 4,000. So we are very, very close. If you haven't subscribed yet, please help us out, and so we can reach that big goal that we set at the start of the season. That would be absolutely fantastic if you guys could help us hit that goal very, very soon. But thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow for our captain video. So thanks, everyone. Have a good night. See ya.